Try that with me. Olam chesed yibaneh. I will build this world with love. Olam chesed yibaneh. Yadonai, Yadonai, Yadonai. Olam chesed yibaneh. Yadonai, Yadonai, Yadonai. A little higher. Olam chesed yibaneh. Yadonai, Yadonai, Yadonai. Olam chesed yibaneh. Yadonai, Yadonai. Now we're going to sing in English. We start, I will build this world from love. I will build this world from love. And you must build. And you must build this world from love. And if we build, this world from love, then God will build. Then God will build this world from love.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is good to be with you on this Shabbat. It is good to be with you, to see so many people joining in on the Facebook live stream and saying hi and telling us who's here. It's really good to see you. We know lots of people are also tuning in on our website, on our stream page, and we are glad that you are here too. It is really beautiful and important to find our ways to be together in these challenging times. We want everyone to be able to follow along and participate as much as you're comfortable. We're going to be projecting some of the words of the prayers on the screen. There is also a link in the Facebook comments for a flip book of the entire prayer book. I'll try and call out some page numbers also from time to time for those of you who have old-fashioned print prayer books at home. We are trying something tonight a little different. We're doing fewer slides than previous weeks because we were feeling like we were missing out on some of the face-to-face that we really value. And so we're trying to maximize human connection, which means some prayers, if you don't know the words and we're not displaying the words, just hum along, and that is beautiful too. And we would welcome your feedback over email about what the experience was, whether we're striking the right balance. We're really doing our best to find that balance in this world that is new. So we are going to begin by lighting our Shabbat candles, which is on page 2 and 3 in the Shabbat prayer book. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Okay, family, you can come in. My family's going to help me light the candles. We're all going to light together. We hope you're lighting with us at home. Should we bring in the light together? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, shal Shabbat. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Simon Seagulls, and to everyone who is joining us in all the places that you are joining us.
So on this Shabbat, we are focusing on the theme of love. Each week, we welcome Shabbat like a bride. And on this Shabbat, during the week of Passover, the symbolism is heightened because Passover too is like a wedding between God and the Jewish people, a love story for the ages, which we celebrate with a great wedding feast, which is, of course, our Passover Seder. On Passover, we read the most romantic book of the Hebrew Bible, the Song of Songs, Shir HaShirim. And so now, with this great love in mind, we sing these words, Dodi Li, I am my beloved's and my beloved is mine, followed by Lecha Dodi, our joyful welcoming of our Shabbat bride. Dodi li vani lo haroeh b'shoshanim. Dodi li mizot olam min hamidbar mizot olam min hamidbar. Dodi li vani lo haroeh b'shoshanim. Dodi li mekuteret mor levona, mor levona. Dodi li. Dodi li vani lo haroeh b'shoshanim. Dodi li. Lecha Dodi לקראת צלח, ונשמה ותבלה. לך דודי, לקראת צלח, ונשמה ותבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבורך, ישמיענו אל המלחם. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, השם תפארת ונדירה. לך דודי, לקראת צלח, ונשמה ותבלה. And if it is your custom to rise and face the entrance as we welcome in the Shabbat bride together. Boi v'shalom ateret balav, gam b'simcha u'b'tzola, toch emunei ha'segula. Boi chala, boi chala, lichadoti, lichadala, b'nei Shabbat.
As we have been doing these past few weeks for our Friday night service, we want to ask a question and give you the opportunity to engage with us and with each other. If you are participating on Facebook Live, to answer in the comments, and if you are participating on our website, to think about or share with the people who you're in the room with. And our question for this week, as we're thinking about Passover, and we're thinking about like chametz, is the stuff we can't eat on Passover. It's the leavening in the bread, but it's the stuff that makes you bloated. It's the bloated stuff of life. It's the schmutz that we are trying to, at least for a week, clean out of our lives, at least for a week put on hold, at least for a week push out of our sight, and to say, I don't need that chametz, that bloated stuff that is tying me down, that is keeping me from being who I want to be, especially in this time. So our question for you this Shabbat is, what do you want to be liberated from this Pesach? What do you want to free yourself from, at least for this week? So if you can put that in the chat, we would love to hear from you. And when we get to Micha Mocha a little later, we'll respond and share out some of the things that you've shared. But right now we are going to continue with Baruch Hu. So if you are in a place where you can rise and feel comfortable to do so, please rise or stay standing as we pray Baruch Hu. We were thinking about the Ma'ariv Aravim prayer, this prayer for the beauty and wonder of nature, and trying to figure out how we might capture that beauty and wonder, especially when, I don't know about you, I haven't been outside the house in a couple of days. And so I wanted to share with you as our Ma'ariv Aravim poem, a poem tonight called Splendor by the poet Thomas Cantilella. And it goes like this. One day it's the clouds, one day the mountains, one day the latest bloom of roses, the pure monochromes, the dazzling hybrids, inspiration for the cathedral's round windows. Every now and then there's the splendor of thought, the singular idea and its brilliant retinue, word, cadence, point of view, little gold arrows flitting between the lines. And too, the splendor of no thought at all, hands lying calmly in lap or swinging a 6-iron with effortless tempo. More often than not, splendor is the star we orbit without a second thought, especially as it arrives and departs. One day it's the bluegrass bay, one day the night and its array of jewels, visible and invisible. Sometimes it's the warm clarity of a face that finds your face and does not turn away. Sometimes a kindness, unexpected, that will radiate further than you might imagine. One day it's the entire day itself, each hour forgoing its number and name, its cumbersome clothes, a day that says, come as you are, large enough for fear and doubt, with room to spare, the most secret wish, the deepest, the darkest, turned inside out. Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. We continue with Shema, page 34.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. You may be seated if you are standing. We continue with Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha bevetecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot beinenecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, leman tizkeru, Vasitem et kol mitzvotai, vitem kiroshim leElohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem leElohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
As we prepare ourselves for Mi Chamocha, our song of freedom, even more present in our hearts this Feast of Freedom, this Pesach, we want to remind you that the question that we had asked you to ponder and maybe to write in the chat is the question of what do you hope to be liberated from this Pesach? What's the chametz you want to be free from this Passover? Write it in the chat, and after we pray Mi Chamocha together, we'll share some out of what you've written.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught. Before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it's eternal Egypt. That there's a better place, a promised land, and the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. That there's no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands, marching together, singing Yah, Yah, Yah,
So we asked you this question, and we hope you'll keep commenting. What do you want to be liberated from this Passover? I've seen a couple of replies in the comments. Nancy wants a break from worrying so much. I feel that. I want a liberation from that. Sydney wants, ironically, to liberation from spending so much time at the computer. One of the challenging parts of this moment is more screen time than usual. It makes it hard to have a Shabbat where we can separate from our technology. I saw that someone said Sissy would like to be freed from living in the future rather than in the present. She wants to be fully present. Raphael would like to be liberated from the isolation of living alone and not being able to converse with others. Hopefully this takes a small stab at that isolation, but we hear you. And if there are other ways that you are hoping to be liberated this Pesach, keep sharing them in the comments. There's a little bit of a delay on Facebook, so you might have already written it and you don't know why I haven't seen it. But we are hoping that these days of unleavening are days of unloading and days of liberating ourselves from some of the worry and some of the challenge. It's not going to transform the world necessarily right away, but we may have an opportunity to transform ourselves as we breathe and as we hope. So we are going to continue now with the Amidah. But first, no, we should do Hashkivenu. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Continue with our theme of love this evening. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let's sing that together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Shalom. All together, Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Shalom. Those two parts fit together, so if you're bold and you want to sing a different part than me, go for it. Let there be love, understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Cantor, I realized a small benefit to this Zoom tefillah, Facebook Live tefillah thing. I can practice like little harmonies and there's no cost if I like sing a wrong note. So like I'm imagining how beautiful it's going to be when we're all back together, not only because we're all back together, but if other people are practicing harmony, we're going to sound even better than when we split apart. It's going to be amazing.
I love that. I can't wait to hear it. I just love imagining everyone in their respective homes singing along together, that in some way we are singing together. So we now continue with the Amidah, and it's one of my favorite moments, and I wanted to just teach a little bit about it before we start chanting the Amidah together. Because at Pesach time, I don't know if you've ever noticed this when you were in the prayer book and just kind of noticing things around the pages. And in the Givurot, which is our second prayer of our Amidah, the Givurot, we have this moment that says winter and then summer. And depending on the time of year, it changes which one we say. And so for a good while now, since Simchat Torah, we've been singing Mashiv Haruach Umorid Hagashem, which means who causes the wind to shift and the rain to fall. And it is at this moment, there's a little asterisk that says that at Pesach time, it is the time when we switch to Morid Hatal. So you'll hear that as we chant together. And that means who brings down the dew. And I just love that our liturgy is connected to the natural world around us, that the seasons have shifted and that we feel it in the words of our prayers. So I know that we're all maybe spending a little more time outside and cherishing these days where maybe it's not quite as hot yet. So enjoy them while they last, and be just thinking about that as we chant the Amidah together. So if you are able to rise in spirit or in body or both, we begin together. And in the book, we are on page 46. Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Bezocher Chasdei Avot ve'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor leolam Adonai, mechayei hakol ata rav lehoshia, morid hatal, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim berofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot, umido melach, melech memit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'nemanata lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hakol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
For a blessing for peace this evening, playing on our theme of love and playing with that image of the shift between rain and dew, is a prayer called A Prayer for the World by Rabbi Harold Kushner. He writes, he disappeared from my screen momentarily. There he is. He writes, let the rain come and wash away the ancient grudges, the bitter hatreds held and nurtured over generations. Let the rain wash away the memory of the hurt, the neglect. Then let the sun come out and fill the sky with rainbows. Let the warmth of sun heal us wherever we are broken. Let it burn away the fog so that we can see each other clearly, so that we can see beyond labels, beyond accents, gender, or skin color. Let the warmth and brightness of the sun melt our selfishness so that we can share the joys and feel the sorrows of our neighbors. Let the light of the sun be so strong that we will see all people as our neighbors. Let the earth, nourished by rain, bring forth flowers to surround us with beauty. And let the mountains teach our hearts to reach upward to heaven. Baruch atah Adonai hamvarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We take a few moments now for silent prayer. Our Misha Berach prayer asks for a refuah shlema, a renewal of wholeness. We are aware now more than ever maybe of the brokenness in ourselves, in each other, and in the world, and our desperate prayer for wholeness, for those in our lives who are sick and struggling, for those who deal with chronic illness and pain, for those who are struggling with addiction and in recovery, for all those seeking wholeness, even a new wholeness in their brokenness. In our congregation, we're praying for Bradley Borden, Melba Berman, Jennifer Carey, Michelle Cohen, Miles Cohn, Tracy Crane, Roger Williams, Maya Creeder, Jay Empel, Rose Ann Finkel, David Stephan Gould, Lauren Gould, Ellie and Leah Jakubowicz, Sarah James, Vicky Yonda, Lawrence Levy, Zelma Lingo, Jesse Vasquez, and Carol Wasserstein, as well as Roger Williams, Harav David Ben Edit, Peril Sarah Batmalka Adel, Liebish Vevel Ben Sheva, and all who are suffering with physical illness, emotional distress, and pain, as we offer these words of healing and wholeness.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
A couple of announcements on this Friday night. We are going to try something new this Shabbat in an effort to address some of the loneliness and isolation that I hear some of you wanting to liberate yourselves from, even mentioning that in the comments. We are trying a virtual Oneg Shabbat. So after this service is over, we're going to invite you to join us in a different Zoom room for some unstructured hanging out and socializing time. Cantor Simmons and I will head from this room to that room without leaving our room immediately following this service, and we hope you will join us for a little while. The link for that is in the comments. It should be pinned in the comments on Facebook. It's also on our website and in our weekly email. So we hope you'll join us for that that other experience and have some time to talk to each other. We are also wanting to share with you our Passover festival service, including Yisker, will take place on Wednesday, April 15th at 10:30 a.m. online. You can watch it in all the places where you are watching this service tonight, on our Facebook, streaming on our Proler Chapel streaming channel on our website. And we hope you'll join us for that, 10:30 on the 15th. And we hope you'll save the date for our congregation's annual meeting, which this year will be a Zoom annual meeting. We really want to make sure that we have quorum to do the important work of the synagogue, especially in this time. So please register on our website so that you can get the link to join us for that. And lastly, a reminder that the best way to stay up to date on our messages and locate how we are changing our program and worship offerings is to check out our website and particularly our coronavirus response page at emmanuelhouston.org. So we hope that you will take a look at that frequently, as well as our weekly email. When I was in rabbinical school, I took a class on the Zohar, on the primary text that's the basis for Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah. And as the final assignment for that class, Dr. Sharon Corin asked us to write a paper on one passage from the Zohar and explain it, translate it and explain it. But she knew that we didn't know a ton of passages from the Zohar off the top of our head, so she made a list of suggested passages that we could choose from. And on the list, I saw a passage that was labeled something like mezuzahs and demons, and I thought, I am going to write that paper. And so I studied this passage from the Zohar that is about mezuzahs and how mezuzahs can protect us from demons. Because the Zohar is full of something that is actually a rich tradition in Judaism that we don't talk very much in liberal Jewish spaces, which is demonology. Elaborate descriptions of all sorts of demons that exist in the world that want to do you harm and do harm through you. And the Zohar says that there is this particular demon that sits outside your door of your house, and he sits to the left of the door, and he wants to bring bad mojo to you every time you walk through your door. When you walk into your house, the mezuzah that is hanging on the right side of your door helps to protect you from the evil of that demon. And I've been thinking a little bit of late about doorways and about closing doors and about what we are trying to keep out when we close doors, especially in this time of social distancing and stay-at-home orders, and what we are trying to close out when we close. And I've been thinking about that also on Pesach, because the very first use of the word mezuzot in the Torah comes from the commandment that God gives through Moses, that the Israelites should take the lamb's blood before the 10th plague and paint it on the mezuzot, on the doorposts of their houses, and that's going to serve as an oath, as a sign to the angel of death that will then know to pass over their houses. And I imagine that as the Israelites were painting their doorposts with this blood, they were thinking to themselves, like, is this door, this wooden door, and is this paint and this blood going to be enough to protect us from this plague that is happening outside our homes? And I've been thinking about the the power of those images of the mezuzah that we place to as a sign maybe of protection, and of the blood on the doorpost in the Passover story, and remembering a story from the Talmud that sort of encapsulates that feeling of wanting protection. It's a story about Onkelos, who was a convert to Judaism and was also the nephew of the Roman Emperor Titus. And when Onkelos converted to Judaism, Titus was not thrilled about this because it looked bad on him. And so he sent some of his advisors to go and talk Onkelos out of being Jewish and back into being of the Roman religion. And Onkelos was so impassioned about his Judaism and so eloquent that the advisors, after spending a little bit of time with Onkelos, they converted to Judaism also, which, as you can imagine, did not thrill Titus. And so Titus sent some legionnaires, some of his guards from his palace guard, to go and arrest Onkelos. And he told them, when you go, you're going to arrest him, but you cannot talk to him, because he's starting to get the sense that the minute that Onkelos talks, that his folks are in trouble. So they go and they arrest him, and they're dragging him out of his house. And as they're dragging him out of his house, he pulls away from them, and he reaches up to touch the mezuzah that's on the door frame of his house and kiss it. And the soldiers are so struck by this, and that they forget that their commandment is to not talk to him. And they say, "What was that about?" And he said, "Oh, well, this is the difference between your people and my people. For you, you're the guards outside the king's palace, and you make sure that no harm comes to the king. But in my religion, our King of Kings, our ruler, our God, sits outside our door to protect us." And he quotes the line from Psalms where David says, "God will guard your comings out and your goings in," as an example of God sitting at our doorposts, making sure that we are safe and protected. And that image is so moving and so powerful to these members of the Roman legion that, of course, they too convert to Judaism. And I'm thinking about how much we are praying in these services that we are doing on Zoom, and how much we are praying in our own lives, in our quiet moments, for that protective presence of God to sit outside our doors and keep us safe. And I'm thinking about the way that we are praying for that Sukkot Shlomecha, that shelter of God's peace, to be spread over all of our homes in this difficult, challenging time. But then I'm remembering that Maimonides, who was always the rationalist, said that the mezuzah has nothing to do with protecting you from evil spirits. Maimonides says that the mezuzah is so that every time you walk by the door, you think about God. And it has nothing to do with any kind of demons. He hadn't read the Zohar yet, but it has nothing to do with any kind of demons, and everything to do with what's happening inside of us. He says that the challenge is not that we are trying to change God by putting a mezuzah on our house and make God protect us. The challenge is to keep us focused on who we are, on our highest ideals, on who we're trying to be. And this is actually matched in the Pesach example, because in Passover, Rashi notes that there's this strange phrase in the verse that commands the Israelites to paint the doorposts of their house. It says that it should be a sign, ot lachem, a sign to them. And Rashi says, well, why should it be a sign to them and not a sign to God, or a sign to the angel of death? And furthermore, God and the angel of death don't need to know where Jews live. They already know that. They don't need a sign to remind them, oh yeah, that's a Jewish house and that's not. They've got that figured out. They've got that under control. So who is it a sign for? Rashi says it's a sign for us, that actually the blood wasn't on the outside doorpost of the house, but on the inside doorpost of the house. And it was there to remind the Israelites not to go out, to remind them that they had to change their behavior also, not just God changing God's behavior. That even though they were afraid, and even though they weren't sure what was happening outside, and even so they weren't sure how dangerous it was, they had to constantly remind themselves to stay in and stay safe. And that the blood on the doorpost was about changing their behavior. I watched a video this week from a very angry nurse who had clearly been to the grocery store, and she had seen some people who were wearing gloves, and but they were not making themselves any safer. And she wanted to explain to people why they weren't making themselves any safer. She said, if you wear your gloves at the grocery store, but you continue to like touch all of the refrigerator, freezer doors, and you touch all the food that's been touched by other people, and you touch your cell phone, and you touch your arms, and you touch your face, or you put your cell phone to your face, that your gloves haven't prevented the germs. And she said in this video, it might make you feel safer, but unless you actually act different when you're wearing the gloves, it's not going to actually make you safer. And what I think is actually very powerful about the image of the mezuzah and the image of the blood on the doorposts is that they are about not only maybe making a change in God and maybe making a change in the world, but also about reminding us that we have to change our own behavior. Even the Zohar page that I studied with Dr. Koren makes the same point, because it doesn't say that the mezuzah is some kind of force field that the demon can't get through. It says that every time you walk past the demon, you look the other direction, you lift your eyes up towards God, you see God's name on the outside of the mezuzah, and that reminds you to be your highest self, to be living in line with your ideals, and then that evil, that demon can't touch you. And so I think that the challenge for all of us in this moment is, as we close our doors, as we make responsible choices, as we put on our masks and our gloves and we do things to protect ourselves, to protect our families, and to protect perfect strangers, is also to challenge ourselves to say, it's not just about the symbols that we paint on our door, it's about how do we change our behavior? And how do we live to our highest ideals? If we are committed to being, as a Jewish people, a light unto the nations, then we are going to have to figure out ways to have our light shine even brighter when we are staying inside our houses. And if we are committed as a Jewish people to doing the work of justice and making justice roll down like waters, then we are going to have to figure out how to do that in a time when we can't go outside in the rain. And if we are committed to being emissaries of God's love and God's peace in this world, we're going to have to figure out how to do that for people at a distance when we cannot do that for them in person. And we are called and challenged not only to pray and not only to ask for God to make a change in this world, though we are doing that too, but also to look at those symbols, those signs, those otot that we are setting for ourselves, and to remind us that we have to make a change. The coronavirus doesn't understand doors. The coronavirus doesn't know that you've closed your door, and so it won't come in. And I would argue that injustice, that brokenness, that heartache, that fear, those things also don't understand doors. They don't know that we've closed our doors. What they know is when we've changed our behavior. And if we are committed to the work of making a more just and whole and beautiful world, especially in these moments of darkness, this night of watching like Pesach night, then we are challenged to paint our doorposts, to put up our mezuzah, to put on our gloves and our masks, but also to change our behavior, to work for ourselves and for each other, to build the world that we imagine. Shabbat Shalom. We are going to continue now, as we do at every service, with a moment of memory. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, life and death. We take a few moments now for silent memory. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who have died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. Our hearts go out in sympathy to the families of Bert, Lloyd, Rosalind, and Linda Cohn Walter, who were laid to rest in recent days. And we recall with tenderness the art sites of Nathan Adelstone, Irving Alexander, Rose K. Bendix, Nellie Levy Berg, Sam Bernstein, Ruth Bittinsky, Leah Feinberg Black, Rita Mallet Blasser, Pearl Boslow, Martha Levy Breyer, Irving Boomar, Goldie Weissman Cash, Charles Cohen, Cecily Daly, Charlotte Davis, Rodrigo Delano, Samuel Ellis Dunham IV, Sophie Eisen, Ann Ehrlich, David Ernstein, Lionel Fink, Poppy Fink, Herman Fishbane, John Fox Slater, Louis Franklin, Daniel Frosch, Seymour Cy Goldhain, Samuel Charles Greenberg, Lily Greenwald, Sophia Hassan, Charlotte Jacobson, Minnie Joslet, Theodore Joseph, Lee Kamen, Lenny Katz, Corinne Cutler Kaufman, Yetta Kessler, Sarah Breyer Klein, Ralph B. Klein, Ellen Kogan, Harry M. Cooper, Coleman Lampy, Benjamin Lassoff, Norman Lebron, Phyllis Greenberg Liebman, Sundal Lipson, Douglas G. Loeb, Milton Lotman, Shirley Klein Markey, Ann Nadel, Helen Nemiroff, Stephanie Odell, Jacob Paykoff, Helen Pasternak, Raphael Phillips, Solomon J. Plotkin, Fred W. Porter, Jeannie Rychek, Matthew Reichlin, Ruth Reif, David Richmond, Frida Schultz Rubenstein, Saul E. Rubenstein, Stanton Ruby, Jennifer Marissa Ruggeri, Hyman Schlossberg, Herman Schultz, Nathan Silverstein, David Singer, Marcia Goldenberg Sloan, Morris Snyder, Louis Solomon, Janet Stein, Thelma Schukart, David Tartikoff, Maurice Jeff Tritter, Bernard I. Wise, and Sonia Zeisman. If there are others that you are recalling on this Shabbat, or if I've misspoken any of the names in the list, I invite you to share those names out loud with whoever is near you or in God's presence as we prepare to rise for Mourner's Kaddish, which can be found on page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yirutei ve'al michmal chutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam omei maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitchomam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudsha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'ne'emata, ta'amiram be'ama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen.
We move from Kaddish to Kiddush as we prepare our wine or grape juice. If you've got wine or grape juice or anything that will suffice, we invite you to grab it now as we get ready for Kiddush.
I have blackberry Manischewitz, so I'm pretty excited about it.
Aren't you fancy?
I'm very fancy. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, b'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol amim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon, inchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashabbat. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
And
now we get to say motzi over a slightly less exciting challah than usual, but a wonderful bread of affliction nonetheless.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lecha min haaretz. Amen. B'te'avon.
Te'avon.
It's very hard to sing with matzah in your mouth, so I just took a tiny bite. We close with the same way we began Olam Chesed with love. Olam Chesed Yivarech, Yadonai, Yadonai, Yadonai. 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 I will build this world from love. I will build this world from love. Yadonai, Yadonai, Yadonai. And you must build. And you must build this world from love. Yadonai, Yadonai, Yadonai. And if we build this world from love, Yadonai, 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 then God will build. Then God will build this world from love. Yadonai, Yadonai.
Before our closing benediction this evening, just a quick reminder that you are very invited to join us for our virtual oneg. There is a link in the Facebook chat. There is a link on our website to find the Zoom link so that we can see you and we can interact with each other for just a little while after services. We would love to see you there. Cantor Simmons and I will be there shortly. And now just one more moment of blessing. Mekor Chaim Uvracha, source of life and blessing. We are in need of love. We are in need of that beautiful love between God and God's people that is described in the Song of Songs. But most importantly, we are in need of help in being vessels for that love, vessels that are beautiful and broken and will pour forth that love into this world, that will build a love that transcends doors and boundaries, that will build a love that transcends hope and fear, that will build a love that transcends pain and healing. Help us, oh God, to be vessels for your love in this world. And we say together, Amen.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We hope to see you at the virtual oneg. Good Shabbos. And thank you to Nathan Malik, who is running our tech tonight and who we literally could not do this without him. We are so, so grateful to have him in the background where you cannot see him, but where he is making this work. So thank you, Nathan.